I'm the only fucking guy here that works out. All the rest of the guys are playing the shoulder next week.
Let's try the famous splinter. Assuming he's not about the Lynch bar.
I wish I could do both at the same time.
Oh shit. roll and go, right? Rock and roll. I'm sorry. Our bus kind of fell apart in the middle of the night last night, and so we ended up stranded in the snow on the side of the road until this morning. So we're in a rush to get here. So I apologize. All you good people who took time to come down here and see me pretend to be a big rock star. I wasn't pulling Axl Rose on me. I was trying to get here. I apologize. All right, so yeah, this is kind of casual, which I appreciate you guys having patience with me. Well, let me catch my wind here. You guys, why don't you ask me some questions, and then I'll think about what I want to say.
You guys gonna bust out any Tungus Grump tonight?
Tungus Grump, yeah. Well, then they all know what you're talking about. Turn that down a little bit. Thanks. Tungus Grump is my high school band, which I loved and in close touch with, my friends from back then. And we actually got back together and jammed for about a month, thinking we'd put something back together. But sometimes you can never go back. You can never go home, right?
I didn't mean to catch you off guard with that question.
You can't catch me off guard. Keep trying. Okay, what else?
You talk about your Mr. Scary guitars?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. Yeah. You got $7,000?
I tried to order
anything to talk about.
Sold out.
Yeah. Huh?
I tried to order a few for the.
You can't sell to dealers. You know, I'm an ESP guy, and they're partly derived from ESPs, sometimes. But these guitars. Well, actually, I was in a wheelchair for a couple of months last year, and I was doing artwork just to sort of do something, and that evolved into, I thought, well, why don't I apply this to guitars? I thought that would be pretty cool. And it just started out kind of simple, and then I just kept evolving and adding more elements and getting into it and learning from, that's the main point, learning from a lot of other people like luthiers and metal workers and Seymour Duncan. Seymour Duncan taught me how to wind and all this kind of stuff. And I learned a lot, which was great. It was a lot of fun to go through the process of understanding how things work. And I'm by no means a luthier, but I'm really by no means a great guitar player either. I make a living doing it, so no, I wasn't doing that to elicit sympathy. I'm honestly not doing all that. I don't practice. I'm kind of sloppy and whatever. I don't know anything about music, to be quite honest. But I mean, in the sense, of scales or anything like that. But
you play with the heart.
Yeah, I do that because I have to. That's all I got left. But but the guitar thing was really cool, and I ended up selling everything I made, and so now I'm starting to do that. I have a shop and wind tools, and I carve everything by hand, from scratch, wind the pickup, shape the necks. I don't mill my necks, and I don't install the frets because I don't have the skills. But I got good friends that are awesome luthiers from San Dimas back from Charbel days and stuff that are, these things play and sound ridiculous. Better. I mean, I don't have one for myself, actually. I got to build one for myself. But it's a pretty cool thing. I really enjoy it. It sometimes becomes burdensome because it is a lot of work. I got like 40 hours into guitars, and I build them in my backyard. Like I built this tiki hut on my pool. So me and my buddy run an extension cord out there, and we have routers and Dremels and sandpaper, and that's how we do it. And it actually snowed. I mean, you guys are used to snow. We're not in LA, and it snowed the day we had to work because I flew him down from Frisco. It helps me. It's good to have somebody to work with. It's just doing it by myself. So, and we got 4 inches of snow. So I got video of that. I'm going to stream it online or on the Mr. Scary Guitars website. It's pretty awesome. We do a whole thing like Gibson doesn't do this, Fender doesn't do this, but we got heart. So we're out here working in the snow. It's pretty awesome. And the guitars go for between $4,000 and however much I can get for them, $8,000. But I mean, like I'm doing one for a guy right now. It's all, well, we got a place out in the desert, and we kill rattlesnakes, and we've got these rattle hides that we tan. And I took the snake head and countersunk it into the butt of the guitar. I did all the carving on it. Did all the bones and set it on fire, did the whole thing, paint it, wind the pickups, but the snake head is in the guitar, which is pretty awesome. The rattles are like the spine. Wow. Come down the pickup, and I took an old Filtertron pickup and rewound that, and it's insane. It's just so cool. The thing is, the snake head is open, with the fangs, so it'll bite you. So what I did is I dripped some super glue off of it with a piece of paper under it and froze it, so it looks like it's dripping venom. It doesn't mean it's a good guitar, but But anyways, it's kind of a unique thing that nobody else is doing, so anyways, I'll do it for however long and then eventually go away, but it's fun. The process is very rewarding. But giving them up is like giving away your kids, man, because it's like you put so much into it, and it's like, I wish I'd kept them all, you know. Anyway, so that's that. So, anything else?
So when you wrote Mr. Scary,
Oh, yeah.
did you even understand how important it is to probably everybody in this room?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
you watch
I mean-
you watch on YouTube now and you're like, holy crap!
It was
you
an
can't
afterthought.
Stop watching it.
Well, it was supposed to be
For us, at least.
a vocal song.
Ah.
You know, Don was going to sing it and everything, but the stuff he came up with or whatever, it just didn't end up, you know,
It's just
passing
amazing.
muster. So we just like, we were going to leave it off the record. And I thought, well, give it a shot at, you know, maybe I'll just play over it, you know. And then it ended up being an all-night thing where we built parts. Obviously, there's a lot of guitars on there. And it's pretty involved. But it ended up becoming a thing. But it was just like a happy accident, you know. It's anything
just amazing.
premeditated.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you know, I didn't. Came through me.
You were just a vehicle, right?
It's just a conduit.
I think I'm the only bass player, you know. So, but you've actually inspired me as a bassist too, because your songs and you know drop
Hey, don't
beat or
steal my
else
poster.
as time went on,
That one might go.
and watching Colson play a 5-string
Yeah.
bass actually got me invested into as much 5-string bass as
Well,
myself.
Jeff's one of the best
Yeah.
in the world at what he does, you know,
Absolutely.
that genre,
Yep.
tone-wise, feel-wise,
Absolutely.
and all the other skill sets surrounding it. I mean, the stuff you're listening to right now, which you know is kind of distorted and there's no vocals or anything, but this is the new Lynch Mob record. And Jeff's playing bass on it.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
So it's Brian Tichy on drums, which we set up the drums in a big open kind of cathedral-like room with hanging mics like Bonham, because he's on the bottom. It sounds great. So it's not, you know, modern drumming technique. There's no hole in the heads. It's a 28-inch bass drum. It's all room. But it's a thing. It's very 70s, you know. And then Jeff, you know, with the tone he gets in his feel, and I do my thing. And only sang a couple songs already, so we're pretty close. We're on the summer release, I think. And on a side note, I just finished a record, which nobody is going to give a shit about, but it's called Soul Zooey, and it's my second Soul Zooey record, which is probably going to be branded just George Lynch here, because in Japan, it's Soul Zooey is kind of known a little bit, but over here, not so much.
Still
So.
got London singing for you?
Well, we got 4 singers. We have Lennon LeGrand, the singer from Bullet Boys, the singer from Earshot, and Keith St. John from Montrose and other bands. It's very interesting. And I basically just took the best of all the vocalists and I just, okay, I'll use that verse and I'll use that chorus. It ended up being really cool. It's a great record, dude. We've been working on it a year. So.
First one's great.
It's a little different, this one. I think it's a big improvement over the first one. So I gotta think of a name for it. Actually, I just thought of it. But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be coming out in Japan in April and here I'm not sure when, but so we got that going on.
When learning to play, have you had any like aha moments or any profound advice when learning to play guitar?
In learning to play guitar? Well, like some sort of, what, like some realization of how to get better all of a sudden?
Do you have any profound advice, like something you're like, just like, oh.
Well, two points. I don't know if you heard his question, but if there any kind of moments that were sort of enlightening. The Clapton of that, you know, this was in the 70s, so he was like, that stylistically kind of like Clapton. Great chops, great hands, great vibrato. I learned a lot of my vibrato, so that was very enlightening for me. And so I would say, yeah. And then I had a guitar teacher. Well, I've had a few, but when I was doing the Lynch Mob record, the first one, I wanted to get better, so I just answered. You know, I looked at an ad, you know, in the paper, and just showed up at this guy's apartment who was teaching guitar. I didn't tell him that I was anybody, but and he was kind of, wait a minute, and I'm like, can we just do this? And we became friends, Mark Thompson, and he's very demure-esque and very disciplined, which I'm not, and my guitar playing just went like through the roof as far as for me, from where I was starting. You know, I just got a lot better really fast and being disciplined, because I'm kind of lazy and don't have the discipline that's self-imposed. So.
Say watching and listening is your most important.
Yeah, listen to bands, go to concerts, and maybe surround yourself with that. You know, surround yourself with players. You know, my life, I mean, I've got 6 kids, I got a big family, I got a lot going on. I really never play guitar because that's like the last thing on my list, you know, on the fridge, you know. because I actually play guitar. There's no time for that. But if you have the luxury of actually woodshedding and playing every day, I mean, obviously when I get out here on the road, my playing improves dramatically after about a week, because I'm actually playing guitar every day, which is awesome. And I start getting the flow going, which is cool. Fortunately, I haven't quite got there yet at this clinic, but you should come see me tomorrow. Yeah. Plus the cold. I mean, I'm starting a new country, and cold won't be allowed in it. So it's not good for guitar playing.
So we're all coming.
It's actually kind of warm today.
That's another thing, the heater's not working in our bus.
Oh, no. George, did you base your GL56 off of like an actual 56 Fender Strat you have? Is it built to
I just randomly threw that out there, and I used to lie about my age, and I used to say I was born in 56. So the GL56 actually was born in 54, which is only 2 years apart. When you get as old as I am, 2 years doesn't even matter. Back when you're 28, that's kind of matters, you know.
The neck on it is so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's
awesome.
Very playable, and I guess a little bit of the Strat thing going on too.
Huge
The
Strat.
first ones came out with just all single coils.
Really?
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Wow, cool.
I'm not brave enough to do that.
Oh, you know.
Well, my band requires kind of that bigger, you know, the humbucking thing happening. I can't get away with the single coil. I mean, I'll sit there and watch Blackmore and Hendrix, and I'll just wish for that. I need to do that. I'm going to do that. And then one guitar player, wicked sensation, tooth and nail. It just doesn't work. You know?
Well, playing Hendrix on that guitar sounds just beautiful, though.
Yeah, and then neck pickup or no pickup. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
What was the story of, I keep reading articles about how Randy Rhoads came to you and was looking for a custom guitar and stuff, and you guys kind of talked about Carl Sandoval. Remember that?
Oh,
Back about 81,
might be something to
80,
that.
something like that.
Carl Sandoval did make his guitar, and I used to hang out with Carl and
Yeah.
build guitars and shit.
So Randy never came to you and actually asked you who made your guitars?
I think that might have happened.
It's been about 30 years.
Conceivable.
Yeah.
Then I have people come up to me and go, oh, well, you know, I heard you tried Eddie Van Halen to play guitar. I did. Taught Led Zeppelin how to write songs. But some of that false press is, you know, some people believe it, others.
Randy Rhoads is a big fan of yours, though.
Well, he was, we respected each other as players, and I ended up, you know, when I didn't get the Aussie gig and he did, he came to we were having a show at the Starwood, and he came and, Halen actually, and he came and he goes, brought his mom, and he said, we got some good news and bad news. The bad news is I got the Aussie gig, you didn't. The good news is you got my teaching gig at my mom's. $5 an hour. But yeah, no, he was a very deep musician, and actually I much preferred his playing as a neoclassic player or a nylon string player when he was just sitting down, rather than, you know, in the rock, when he did the rock thing. I didn't think he didn't come across as deeply as his skill set was. Especially not to be critical, but when he came out with some live record I heard, and it was basically Eruption. You know, I think, dude, you don't need to be biting Eddie's shit. You got your own thing going. It was hard not to bite Eddie's thing at that time, to make such a freaking overwhelming influence, especially in LA. Couldn't get away from it. Who's this guy? Oh my God. He was running out trying to be like me, including me. Anything else? And I'll fire it back up.
Yeah, what was the biggest obstacle for you as a working musician?
Biggest obstacle? Well, in the long term, in the long view, I would say time. You know, the generational changes that occur, and you get to the point where you can't really represent a newer generation. I mean, it just isn't physically or biologically, mentally possible in any realm. And I mean, there are people that kind of get past that, like maybe Social Distortion, you know, they're still valid, you know, Sabbath, or whatever, lots of people, but for people that were genre specific, such as myself, you know, like a band like Rat or something, it's pretty hard to get people to listen to your shit or change. And I really love changing it up and doing different things, but every time I've tried, I just get thrown right back in my face. And I do have to make a living, so it's kind of like when you're out there in the real world and you're trying to do a record and the label's saying, well, this is what's marketable. It's a brand. You don't change the recipe of Coke. You piss people off. So That's the reality I have to deal with, which is very frustrating, you know, because I'd love to do just a straight blues record. I'd love to do, I got this record that Brian Tichy and I have been working on called Geometry of Speed. And it's just like a very progressive fusion-y thing, you know, screw around with. And we got this other thing called Oxen, which is just this the 70s, little southern rocky trio kind of thing. Just all these different things, and we just have so much, you know, I mean, we're just constantly just coming up with ideas and recording and stuff. But what is that going to do, you know? I mean, things I have to concentrate on, the brand, which is Lynch Mob. If Dokken were intact, for instance, you know, that would be something that, you know, I can sell and go out, but it's a double-edged sword, because then I go out and I play Breaking the Chains for another 20 years, and it's like, it's so fun. But I tried doing a rap metal thing, which is, the bad timing was terrible, I know that sounds funny, but I should have called it Lynch Biscuit, but I love that record. Yeah, I had such a good time with that record and playing with those guys, and we went out on tour, and we got so much shit thrown at us. Well, nobody threw anything at me. I threw it at everybody else in the band but me. And we ended up halfway through the tour having to do Dokken songs. Lynch Mob songs. Well, you know, hoo-hoo. But anyways, better than working for a living, right?
Yeah.
I had a question. You had a lot of guitar solos that I found that were just really moving for me as a learning player back when I was learning to play. And I always wondered, some of them obviously you've, like the tooth and nail solo going along with the chord changes and stuff, I'm assuming you kind of arranged that. Other solos, I mean, are you just improvising, or do you write your solos?
Tooth and Nail's the only solo I ever was premeditated.
Yeah.
I kind of figured it out beforehand, pretty much. Everything, I've never done that with any other solo.
So everything else is
just
like off the cuff, just...
Well, it's not, okay, when you say off the cuff, it's not like, you know, you just swagger in, pick up whatever's laying around,
But you don't have to plan off.
throw it out and go back to the pool, you know, I mean, work on it. I just didn't think of it before. I mean, I'm composing when I'm in the studio. And I used to feel guilty about that, so in the 90s I didn't do that. I didn't do any punching in, I didn't do any comps. Everything was, I had to play it all. And I was real proud of myself that I did that. And then the engineer that I worked with for a lot of years came to me and goes, you know what, oh, I went to Japan, and I had a little engineer friend, and he said, well, it's because that's the way you compose, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's composition. It's not that you're cheating, it's just that that's how you're creating. You know, you sort of get into it, you come up with a beginning and an end, and then you work out the middle, and you find the connecting points, and then you put it all together, and then you play it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It takes a while sometimes. But anyways, yeah, but you know, you always want to be what you aren't. So I'll look at a guy like Lukather or something that just comes, and I'm just like, I get jealous, you know, I gotta be like that. But, you know, it comes with time. By the time I'm 70, I'm going to have it all. Okay, so maybe I'll play another song off this, this thing. And,
Cool, man.
Figure out how to use it. Kind of queued up for the next thing. to cut it short, but we'll do some signing if that's cool.
Yep.
To knock this out, I gotta get back and get into my monkey suit and practice a little bit. And I appreciate